أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وشفينا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. Brothers and sisters viewing IBN right now, welcome to this special presentation as we discuss a very important topic that affects the lives of so many people here in Trinidad and Tobago. We all talk about, and we all see in the news, all that is happening in that place in the Middle East called Gaza. And we want to have a little discussion about Gaza, and what is happening there is a very sad situation for the Muslim community around the world. And we have two very special guests to share their insights and their knowledge on what is happening in Gaza. But before we introduce our guests, we want to feature for you now a special video presentation prepared by Al Jazeera Network about what is happening in Palestine and Gaza. Stay with us.
I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site.
غزة كانت المكان المفضل لي قبل الحرب. غزة كانت مليئة بالأماكن الجميلة جدا مثل شاطئ البحر والكافيتريات على شاطئ البحر والكورنيش. غزة المكان اللي كان المفضل للجميع. الشوارع في المساء كانت جميلة جدا، المباني جميلة جدا، البيوت الدافئة كانت جميلة جدا.
احنا قاعدين في ارضنا هنا وصامدين، اللي بده يعمر مش حجة انه يطلعنا برا بحجة انه يعمر لنا. طب ما انت من الاساس انت اللي ساعدت اسرائيل على الدمار اللي احنا شايفينه هذا.
احنا بنحكي لترامب ولرئيس امريكا ولرؤساء دول العالم بالجميع بخصوص الشعب الفلسطيني متجذر بارضه وثابت كثبات شجر الزيتون، لن نتخلى عن ارض غزه.
غزه القديمه جميله جدا ايضا. غزه كانت مليئه بالحياه قبل الحرب، الحياه الجميله، الحياه التي كان يحبها اهل غزه فيها، الحياه التي افتقدناها خلال الحرب وصدمنا بها بعد انتهاء الحرب لنرى هذا الدمار الكبير. كانت غزة قطعة من الجنة على الأرض.
بدك تهجرني تطلعني برا وتجيب بدلي ناس. ناطحات السحاب عندك انت مش عندي انا. انا بدي ارضى اعيش في خيمه وتحت الركام. خلقت من هنا سأموت هنا. لن أغادر لن أغادر لن أغادر.
أقعد على الركام أنا وأولادي وأقعد يعني أفرش شرشك وأقعد فيه وأشوف أمسك ركام بيتي.
فشرت عين ترامب إذا بحاول يهجرنا ولا يرحلنا له ولا اللي أعلى منه ولا اللي أكبر منه. ليش يرحلنا؟ هذه أرضنا، احنا بنموت كلنا لآخر قطر الدم، لآخر طفل فلسطيني فيش إمكانية احنا ننزح.
This is IBN TV8, and today on our program, this special presentation, we are talking about Gaza and life in the Middle East and in Palestine. We have two very distinguished guests. First of all, our guest who hails from Gaza, but is now a resident of London, Brother Yousef Al Helou. Assalamu alaikum. And with him today, we have our distinguished brother from the Islamic Dawah Movement, Brother Amir Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum, Amir.
Walaikum salam.
Brother Yousef, welcome to Trinidad.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's an honor to be here with you.
What can you tell us now about Gaza? What's happening?
So Gaza means the defeater of invaders. I was born there. I grew up there in its alleyways. I experienced the first intifada, second intifada. All of my family is still there, my parents, siblings. I lost loved ones. So Gaza has been described as the world's largest open-air prison. And the situation now is really dire. It's very bad. It has been transformed into an experimental field. It's the man-made disaster. Of course, this genocide has been live streamed for the past 600 days, almost 20 months. People are facing threats of diseases. There is famine, man-made starvation. There is collective punishment, lack of healthy drinking water. There is no basic supplies, basic necessities are not available there. So people are facing what looks like the Day of Judgment, panicking, going from place to place, because Gaza is the world's largest open-air prison, and it's the most densely populated spot on earth. You have 2.5 million people live in 360 square kilometer, which is roughly a little bit smaller or bigger than Tobago. You have 2.5 million people. Can you imagine the level of stress and trauma and psychological impact of the bombs keeps dropping non-stop for the past 600 days?
Talha, we are living here in Trinidad and Tobago, 6,000 miles away from Gaza. What have we learned so far in our country about what is happening in that Middle East?
Well, I think the situation in Gaza has been ongoing for as long as we know ourselves. I think since October 2023, what it has forced us to do is to try to learn more about the situation. And it has forced, not only us locally, but internationally as well, raise some awareness of the history of the situation, force people to look at the scenario and learn about what are some of the root causes of it. And in doing that, we found a lot of persons who may not have had a natural connection of Islam with those brothers and sisters in Gaza, but even those outside of Islam to actually show solidarity and support because they have been forced to learn about the situation and they've seen truths in their research. They've been able to recognize the untruths in what the public narrative has been. So we've seen a lot of benefits from that perspective, as well as I think in the Muslim community it has forced everyone to look within ourselves spiritually, recognize those many favors we have. Our tests, there's a verse in Quran where Allah says, وَنَبَلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ fitna, that we will test you with good and bad fitna. So for Gazans, it may be the war, the famine, the difficulties, but for us, the absence of that is also our fitna. And if we are being grateful, if we are showing gratitude and so on. So I think it has raised a lot of questions in our minds about our spirituality, our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as forced all of us to become more educated about the situation.
Yeah. Brother Yousef, the war in Gaza going on right didn't start today.
No, it didn't. There is context. It didn't happen in a vacuum. The root cause of this suffering of the Palestinian people is Israel's colonization and military occupation that started in 1948. We call it the Nakba, the loss of our homeland. So Israel now is continuing to finish the job by kicking the Palestinians, the indigenous people, out of the land because they are worried from the demographic growth. Gaza is the exposer of evil forces. It's a test for humanity to see who's going to support and stand up for justice, and those who are munafiqeen, hypocritical people. The whole world, the so-called Western world, we can see that people, civilians, children being targeted by snipers, killed, starved to death, and they do little to support Palestinians. They do lip service. So what's needed is actually a continuation of this pressure on the governments of the world to impose pressure on Israel to end its occupation. But Israel doesn't feel the pressure. This is the thing. It has to feel the pressure. As long as there are some weapons coming from the West, America, Germany, and other Western countries, the UK, then Israel will continue to enjoy impunity. None of the Israeli officials have ever been held accountable. So they are bragging. They share their crimes online. Whereas we Palestinians, when we share videos coming from the ground, our social media platforms are shut down. I lost my Instagram account with over 1 million followers because we speak the truth.
Tala, we here in Trinidad and Tobago, and we look at Gaza on the map, and we see it is surrounded by some other countries that we know, like Jordan and Turkey and Syria. How have you reacted to their reaction to what is happening in Gaza?
Well, I think the narrative among our community is the same as Muslims throughout the world, a sense of frustration, a sense of disbelief, that, you know, the Arab countries, I would hesitate to say Muslim countries because there is a difference.
Yeah.
The Arab countries, you know, have been, you know, a level of inaction, which it is difficult to wrap our minds around and really reconcile in our minds. Why would Muslim leaders who have resources, who have access to certain things, not assist more? We've even seen Muslim leaders meeting with, you know, those who are perpetrating the war and those who are funding the war, which is, you know, something really difficult for us to understand. And it's really hurtful, I would say, for all of us to feel a sense of anger, a sense of frustration generally. Yeah. And as Brother Yousef said, you know, I saw a recent report from the Israeli Minister of Defense in response to Emmanuel Macron's statement about the response that the world should have towards Gaza. And he said that we intend to build settlements in the West Bank, but we will tell the world that we'll agree to a Palestinian state on paper, but on the ground we will build Israeli settlements. And that shows the brazen attitude of the Israeli administration towards the world.
Brother Yousef, give us, you lost family from Gaza?
Sadly, yes. I was lucky, first of all. I made the effort to see my family after being away in London for 10 years. I made the plan. I spent 2 months in July, August 2023. I spent 2 months. I met with my family after so long. I reconnected with the city of my birth, Gaza, which I love dearly. It's been destroyed now forever, but it will rise from the ashes. That's why I call the Phoenix of Gaza as the title of my film. So my eldest sister Asma and her 7 children, my nephews and nieces, all were murdered in cold blood by an Israeli airstrike that struck their 5-story building in December 2023, almost a month and a half after the genocide started, and their bodies, until this moment, under the rubble. We are unable to retrieve their bodies because Israel bombed all the heavy machinery, the tractors and the bulldozers that used for building construction purposes. And also there are, by the way, over 10,000 people still under the rubble, according to the local authorities. There are so many people missing, so many injuries, so many deformation and amputations. Israel has orphaned 40,000 children. Imagine what's the future of those children. We are going to be back again to square zero, that the Palestinians will continue to resist as long as there is occupation. And Gaza is actually requires the intervention of all mankind. You don't have to be a Muslim, Arab, or Palestinian to stand up for justice. We have millions around the world that support our just cause. Atheists, Christians, even Jews, they join our marches across the world. Because you cannot stay idle. Either you are in the right side of history or the wrong side of history.
Tala, the media has portrayed several protests and demonstrations around the world. Speaking about what Brother Yousef has talked about, to come out in support of Palestine, do you think that more can be done worldwide?
Yeah, definitely. I think the wave of protests have continued. We've seen in the US, especially on campuses and so on, action having to be taken to try to suppress students who are really waking up to the reality. And I think definitely until the situation changes or turns for the better, there's always room for us to do more. There is more awareness. We've seen as well on social media that persons' accounts, have been what we call shadow banned. So my account, every time I share, Palestine content, I get very few views because the algorithms have been altered to detect and block accounts so that it's not shared. But there's a verse of Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يريد الله ليطفئ نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. That they will try to put out Allah's light with their mouths, but Allah's light could never be put out.
President Trump says he wants to rebuild Gaza. What do you think about that?
Well, I think anybody who has an ounce of iman and sincerity and love for our Muslim brothers and sisters would be totally angered by that particular statement, because you know, our hearts are connected to the Ummah wherever they are, and, you know, the homeland of people who we love through our Iman, you know, it feels like our home as well. And hearing words like those, which just, you know, sounds like arrogance, and, you know, sounds like just brazen, you know, disregard for anybody's care, is really hurtful and really frustrating to hear for all of us.
Yousef, what do you think about President Trump?
I think he's good at making business deals, and he thought he was going to buy Gaza and dump its people. But I think he stopped talking about that because his aides and advisors, they proved to him that he is out of his mind. You cannot ethnically cleanse the indigenous people of the land of Gaza so that you transform it into a travel and touristic destination. We already had resorts, hotels, infrastructure, beautiful alleyways and streets and roads, especially the coastal road, Al-Rashid Road. And I was willing to quit London and go and live in Gaza. I think the American officials, such as Trump, they think that with their hegemonic powers, they think that with their money and arrogance, they can scare people around the world. Look at Vietnam, look at other countries who gained their liberation. They resorted to struggle, they resorted to resistance. And Palestinians are not an exception. You know, Palestinians have been struggling for self-determination, to gain their freedom and gain their liberation. Why Palestinians have to live under Israeli control and dehumanization forever?
Talha, talk to us about the psychology of this moment. I mean, we see on the media children, their parents and young ones being killed, their bodies split into many pieces, yet still these people still have time to fast in Ramadan, pray outside in rubble and so on. How you think, how could they cope with that?
I don't know. Only Allah knows. I think what we've seen from our brothers and sisters in Gaza is a different level of iman that we can't understand. You know, we see children consoling each other by saying Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. We've heard stories of the sisters in Gaza not wanting to go to sleep without their hijab because they're afraid if they die during the night they will be uncovered. I mean, there's a level of iman that we can't even fathom, and that's why I said it really calls on us to check ourselves and to ensure that we are doing our best in the sight of Allah as well, you know, in response to what we see.
You think we could do plenty more from this part of the world?
There's always more to do, I think. I think we've tried as a community to lobby our politicians. We've tried, we've actively, many different Jamaat have been trying to send aid through the established agencies and so on. Many persons on their personal accounts have been trying to raise awareness. But there's more that we could do. There's always room for more collaboration, for more coordination within the community and within the region. But I think those who have been trying, you know, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them, and we all, you know, all of us who looking at the program should really try to support and really try to contribute in any way that we could.
So if you have produced, presented a film video entitled The Phoenix of Gaza. Tell us about that.
Gaza will always keep inspiring the whole world with our resilience, determination, morale. We never bow. We never raise the white flag. Israel destroys, we rebuild. My documentary film, which has won 4 awards so far, is getting momentum worldwide, and there is a request to screen it worldwide. That's why I'm here, and I also will screen it in other islands in the Caribbean, in Grenada and Barbados, and I'm happy to come back again to sit down and raise awareness. So it's 50 minutes long. In my narration, it was supposed to be a celebration of life, to show the world the beauty of Gaza, the resilience, how we managed to break and challenge Israel's blockade, how we managed to decorate our prison. It's the largest open prison, but with determination, we challenge the Israelis, we buy the goods we wanted, and we beautify and decorate our prison. But unfortunately, this celebration of life has changed into a eulogy. People lost their loved ones. Many people in the film, documentary film, were killed and injured.
I want you to go through us the details of how you produced, what went through your mind when you were thinking about the production of this video.
So I traveled around the world, but I'm not able to visit the historic Palestine, the West Bank and Jerusalem. Gazans are banned for life to visit Al-Aqsa Mosque, or Christian in Gaza also they find difficulty to visit holy places in Bethlehem and Nazareth. So I went in one purpose to film a documentary. Originally I was thinking to do it in Arabic, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, to shoot all the nice places and put them together. But when the genocide started, I went back to London, and 1 month later when I returned to London, the genocide started. Then I thought I need to make this documentary universal, in English. I need to show the world how Gaza used to look like. Because millions around the world, including yourself, you were banned to visit us in Gaza. Because the Israelis, they don't want people to visit Palestinians from the outside to show solidarity or to make to improve the economy. Unlike the West Bank, of course, they suffer, although they suffer some oppression, but there's somehow some foreigners, they can visit the West Bank, they can visit Al-Aqsa Mosque. Israel tries to show itself as a democracy by allowing some people, some Muslims, to visit Al-Aqsa Mosque. I only been to Al-Aqsa Mosque once when I was 7 years old, and that was before the signing of Oslo Accords, before 1995. There were no barricades or checkpoints before 1995, but now it's fortified. There are walls around Gaza, barbed wires, balloons, drones, spies on the ground. So it's a very complicated situation. And then I invested a lot in the film. I added sound effects, I bought copyrights, and then the last 10 minutes of the film is dramatic scenes, how Gaza was and how it became after. But again, I end by saying that this documentary film is my love letter to my city. I was the last person to film the beauty of Gaza extensively, and we will rebuild Gaza with our determination. We will not raise the white flag, and we are not going to vanish. We will not go to the museum. So Gaza will always be a throne in the occupiers and colonizers' throats.
Talha, do you see that as part of the future of Gaza?
Definitely. I mean, the spirit of the people of Gaza continues, even inspiration to all of us. And I would ask Brother Yousef, having done the film and now publishing the film through the screenings, what do you expect to come from it? Or what is your expectation of those looking at it?
Again, to continue be inspired by us, that we are normal human beings. I'm addressing the Western world. I know we are Muslim Ummah, one body, one united, but I wanted the Western world to know that we are human beings. We're not asking for too much. We're not from the moon. We're not aliens. We had everything we wanted. Israel doesn't want us to live in peace. It doesn't want us to stay on our land. They want us to leave, claiming that this land is promised to them by God. And also the other thing is to mobilize people to take more action, to be encouraged to keep protesting outside Israeli embassies, calling for the expulsion of Israeli ambassadors, calling on government officials in any government around the world to stop financing this genocide and stop being complicit and stop being silent, because there is an international conspiracy of silence. I want to expose the hypocrisy and double standards of the world. Like, look, we are normal people, and we don't incite people. They just want to continue living happily and peacefully. But the other side, they don't want us to stay there. They keep provoking Palestinians in the West Bank, and they use their propaganda machine to paint us as dehumanized. They wanted to demonize us, dehumanize us, to show us that we are the aggressors. But Palestinians are the most educated people in the region. We are calm people. Unlike them, they are arrogant. They attack Christians in the West Bank by spitting them. You've seen the horrendous videos that they are doing against anybody who's not Jewish. So I think it's a time in history that the world has to realize that as long as Palestinians are not free, no one is free.
I wanted to put on record, from your point of view, as someone who came out of Gaza, how many people, men, women, and children, have actually been killed in Gaza?
So the official statistics by the local Gaza Health Ministry stands now around 52,000. Those are the bodies that were admitted to hospitals or identified. You're talking about unaccounted numbers of people who were buried in massive graves, people whose bodies vanished as a result of the explosions, people who are abducted by the Israeli military. So I would put the number, at least 100,000 people were killed, slaughtered, disappeared. In addition to over 200,000 people who were injured. Many of them, they lost, they had their limbs amputated. With many of them, they have chronic diseases now due to lack of medical supplies. In addition to that, 2.5 million people in Gaza, they are traumatized. for generations to come. Because of the level of brutality and savagery, they are being watching bodies on the ground, disturbing on bodies. You've seen when some of the countries, they dropped aid from the air. Many people even drowned in the sea because on purpose, those aid packages, they were dropped on the sea, on the beach, so that people will swim and drown. Hundreds, let's say tens of people drowned as they were trying to catch those packages. So the level of dehumanization and degradation is unbelievable. Those people who lost their loved ones, they will never forget and they will never forgive.
I want to add, Mr. Jamal, that the statistics that we know shows a very shocking reality in terms of the ages as well. So more than 1/3 of those who have been killed have been children. More than 10,000 below the age of 12, and about 3,000 below the age of 2.
Young people, yeah.
And the journalist website Reuters has a very good visual statistic where it shows also families that have been lost. How many families? So, for example, it says 1 family of 14, 3 families of 11, 17 families of 8, 50 of 7. So entire families exterminated.
For the civil registry.
Yes, exactly.
Do you think there's a deliberate plot by the Israelis to destroy families?
Well, for sure. And also to target children as well, to show that there will be no future. There will be nobody to resist afterwards.
By the way, half of the population in Gaza are children below the age of 16. Half of the population.
Yeah.
So how do you see this playing out, Brother Yousef, in the future?
I think we never lose hope. This is our land. We are the indigenous people of the land, and the occupiers, colonizers, they either have to admit this is our land and to accept our Palestinian state and to recognize us and to apologize to us and to compensate us. If they're not happy, they can go back to Europe where they came from. I think there will not be peace, there will never be peace or stability in the Middle East or in the world without a just solution to the suffering and grievances of the Palestinian people. And I think the Israelis realize that they will never be able to maintain their occupation. America might at some point say, you cannot extort us. Germany, might say, you cannot extort us and play the victim and shed crocodile tears each time. Enough is enough. The world is sick of this. Of these crimes and brutality. It's evil. It's even Iblis is learning from them. Wallahi, we are shocked to our core. Why the so-called civilized world allowing this genocide to go on live stream to our phones? And they can see the suffering of people, civilians. The Israelis, they claim that, they are targeting some fighters here and there. But they have the capability to carry out precision operations.
Yes.
They killed a leader in Tehran, miles and miles away. And they claim that people are being used as a human shield and stuff. They can come up with all kinds of justifications, forging facts, but the world see that its civilians are being deliberately targeted. Residential houses deliberately targeted. What's this to do with self-defense?
Yes,
What's this to do with releasing, some captives here and there?
Tala, how you see the future playing out for the brothers and sisters in Gaza?
It's so difficult. As somebody I know says, there are no future facts, so we don't know for sure. What we know is that the spirit of the Gazans will continue to inspire us. We hope that, as time goes on, the sentiment around the world will continue to grow, and people will see more of the truth and speak out more for justice. Hopefully, that will lead to a political impact internationally that could, help to bring some relief to the situation. I mean, that is what we all make dua for, we all hope for.
The President, Prime Minister of Israel spoke about destroying Hamas. Has he succeeded? Tala?
No, I guess not.
But Yousef, what do you have to say about Hamas?
Resistance is an idea, and you cannot defeat an idea. Hamas is the result of the occupation. If Israel ends its occupation, the resistance will stop.
Tala, any final comments before we go?
I just want to ask, Brother Yousef, I mean, we live in a very small island, and the general feeling in the island, I think, among the majority of persons is, pro-Palestinian in terms of the conflict. But what has your experience been, the sentiment around the world through your travels, through the persons that you have met who are non-Muslim? What is the sentiment around the world towards the conflict?
We have a great support for anybody who supports our just cause. And this shows that we are not alone. This shows that right will prevail, justice will prevail. And again, this is a human cause. It's not a religious war, as Israel wants us to believe. We are certain that we will be victorious at the end. We are certain that the new generations will carry the flag. We are waiting for the world to prove to us that they will stand up against oppression and against injustice. So we salute all those people around the world in Trinidad and Tobago, on all the Caribbean region, in the whole world. We see the millions are supporting us. We know that we are not alone, and we are waiting for the moment that we all going to celebrate justice and freedom, and all of you are welcome to visit us in a free Palestine, inshallah, and to pray in Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Now, the Phoenix of Gaza will be released today at the Central Bank Auditorium. And from Trinidad, where do you go?
I go to Barbados from the 4th to the 6th, and then from the 6th to the 8th to Grenada, and then back here for 24 hours on the 9th, and then on the 10th I fly back to London.
And from London, you have any planned travels to go?
There are multiple upcoming screenings in different countries around the world, as far as South Africa, the Maldives, Europe, Ireland. There is so much demand to see how Gaza was before the war. People see the destruction, the killing, but they wanted to see how people coped, how people lived their life. And now I'm carrying Gaza in my heart and mind and touring the world to show them how resilient the people of Gaza were and are at the moment.
May Almighty Allah bless you,
Thank you,
Brother Yousef, members of your family, and all those who are in this struggle. May Almighty Allah bless you. And thank you very much, Amir, for guesting with us. Any final comments from anyone, either of you? Inshallah.
Free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Thanks to our special guest, Brother Yousef Helou of Gaza, and Brother Amir Mohammed of the Islamic Dawah Movement. You are viewing IBN TV8. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much.
Wa alaikum assalam.